This is just us chatting, and we're gonna have a great time.
Okay.
Okay. Jasmine, welcome to the Whatever Works podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I texted you a million times. I was like, thank you so much. And you've been so nice. You're like, I want to be here. And I think that's crazy.
Last time we hung out, if you weren't going to ask me, I was going to go home and be like, Mercy has a podcast and she didn't ask me to be on it. We're not even friends.
I'm glad you were thinking about it because the whole time, because we chatted for like 2-3 hours, I was like, I'm so scared. I don't want to ask her. What if she thinks I'm super cringe? Like, what if she's like I always want my friends to feel like they can say no because it's going on the internet. But I'm like, how will they say no? Like, no one can say no to me when I'm asking them to like.
It'd be good. They could say, I'm shy.
Exactly.
I'm busy.
But even my shy friends are like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, are you sure? And you're not, unfortunately, one of my shy friends.
No, no,
very
I'm not shy. Do you swear on this podcast?
Yes.
How bad?
Bad.
Okay.
You can, the only word when we were hanging out last time, I don't say the C word.
I wouldn't say it on the pod.
But you can say it on the podcast.
I
have it marked with a little E for explicit.
You were going to out me. The C word is my secret.
Oh, is that you said it so many times for it to be a secret. I was like, okay, Jasmine. I was like,
I'm
all
in the mood.
But we were talking about annoying people, so it makes sense that came out so
I'll
often.
keep it to a minimum.
No, you're good. I swear a lot. I'm a nanny, and my boss is like, oh, I keep wanting to watch your podcast. I'm like, it's okay. You don't have to, because I swear so much. Like, I don't but I don't follow her on Instagram because I don't want her to follow me back because my notes and everything, I'm just swearing. It's fuck every other sentence and bitch and shit and like all the swear words. And then I go to work. I'm like, oh, you sweet little angel,
protect your
little
peace.
babies. Yeah, I'm like, sorry, that's not how I am. In
My
real
Instagram
life.
is where I'm feral.
I love your Instagram. Watching your Instagram is my podcast, which you only ever post like every once in a while.
Yeah.
But when you do, I'm like, something happened.
I am afraid of getting bullied. Like I would. That's why I think this is so badass. Like, you are putting yourself out online.
Yeah.
I am living vicariously through you.
I've already been bullied so much that I have nothing else to lose. Like, I'm like, what are you gonna do? Make fun of my weight? Make fun of my my race? I'm like, fucking heard it before. You're not special. Like, I just like, and I feel like you feel the same from like high school experience. You're like, there's nothing I haven't heard. That you're like, whatever.
Yeah, it'd be hurting me every time though. But you're right.
But you wouldn't know because you're so confident in like who you are that I'm like, whatever. Yes. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that's super insecure.
Well, good. I'm glad it's coming.
No, I would think I think we're very similar in that way. It's like we just kind of present ourselves exactly how we are, and we don't sugarcoat it, even if it's going to get us bullied. We're like,
people don't like that. The confrontation. I always say there's a huge difference between like aggressive confrontation and just confrontation. Yeah. I am confrontational.
Yeah.
But I'm not mean.
I agree. I'm mean though. I think you're right. But I'm confrontational and mean. Like, I can't do confrontation without being mean. Like, yesterday, Faith and I were having a conversation for like 2 hours. It felt like my whole night. But like 2 hours. And I'm like, it's not about her, but I'm yelling. I'm like, and this fucking bothers me. And this isn't fair. And this isn't okay. And I'm not yelling at you. But this is how I feel. And she's like, okay. All right.
What a good listener.
That's just, she's such a great listener. That's just like how I present. Like, I'm just a very angry little girl. So
the older I'm getting, the angrier I'm getting.
And just wait till we have kids. Because I feel like even as a nanny, I don't know if you were like, because you nannied through school. Like, I was so protective of my babies that sometimes I'm like, we're out and about at the museums or something and a kid pushes them, like, you want me to push you back?
Oh.
And then their moms are like, oh, haha. I'm like, no, haha. Get your fucking kid. I'm like, he just pushed my 18-month-old. Like, no, it's not okay. And I get like, but I've always been an angry gal.
Yeah. No, anger's good sometimes.
Well, I like how you were like, confrontation doesn't have to be mean. And I'm like, you're right.
But it is for me. And that's okay.
No, I think that's probably why you're so good at your job, too. Is like you're able to confront your clients without being like a bitch. But you're also like good at it. But
I can be a bitch sometimes, too. But I think I'm a yapper.
Yeah.
I really yap. Overly yap. And so the population that comes to me, I do think enjoys that. Like, I see a
Okay.
lot of neurodivergent folk who don't talk a lot.
Oh, okay.
So then I kind of like get them talking. But I will say, I'm going to be bitchy, and then I will call them out.
Nice.
Right? Or
Nice,
I'm
yeah.
going to push you, and then I will do it. So I give them a little warning.
Yeah. No, I think that's perfect. I'm sure they're like, they sit in that chair and they're like, what we need to talk about today is going to get talked about because of Jasmine. Anyway, let's go back because we're talking about your job.
Yeah.
And you're a therapist, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about like schooling and like how you got into that and how you chose that.
The worst.
Yeah.
This brings in my dad, actually.
Does it?
So
Okay.
we can
Perfect.
hit two topics at once. Yeah, I think in school when they ask you, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, what makes money? And I thought a nurse. Okay.
weird. You
Plot
did CNA
twist.
for a while.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a CNA in high school. I was going to be a pediatric nurse. So I got early accepted into the NEEP program at the U of U.
Cool.
So right as a freshman, I was immediately accepted into the nursing program.
Awesome.
And hated it. Was working at primary children's was the worst thing ever. You get take sick kids, but then angry, anxious parents. That was making my anxiety, like I was getting like anxiety attacks before having to clock into my shift.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe this is not the thing for me.
Yeah.
But I show up to the NEEP, like there was a monthly get together and the professors would just talk about the program and the classes you needed to take. And one of the professors was like, the NEET program has been around for X amount of years and you should all feel so lucky because out of X amount of years, only one person has dropped out. Thank you. So I'm the second.
You said, bitch, I made it too.
I'm the second.
That's crazy. And NEEP, is that like specifically the pediatric or is it just nursing in general?
Knurling Early Assurance Program.
okay.
So you just get like you're automatically accepted. Yeah, which I will say, I think it's just because I'm brown. I'm going to dead ass say that. Like my GPA was like a 3.6.
Yeah.
They wanted it like a 3.8. I also submitted my application a day late. So I think they were like, oh, minority, dead dad, first generation college, check. And then they just let me in.
My mom tells me all the time, she goes, Mercy, you're not looking for the right scholarships. She's like, you're colored and you're a woman. And I'm like, okay. Like, for me, that like I don't feel special being a minority because I've been a minority my whole life. Like, it just feels like life. But I'm like, oh, yeah, shit. Like, I check all the boxes. No dad. No, like, my mom now, she's working on her PhD, but, like, I was like, none of my siblings graduated high school. I know, Suhei's the best. But, like, none of my siblings graduated high school. Like, I'm really, like, I've done a lot. Like, I've made it out. They are just different than me in, like, 700
They figured
ways.
it out.
Yeah.
So I'm proud for that.
Yeah.
But, oh my gosh.
It's
Okay.
just different.
Yeah, go you.
Anyway, like, my mom's like, you could do all these things with these scholarships. And I'm like, yeah. Like,
I will
like,
say, I feel like the scholarships were so limited. I didn't get like a lot of money for school, but I did get a lot of pity. And I think that's what like...
But there's no way you were the only colored person like in your class, were you?
In the nursing early assurance program? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, bitch,
That's
I was.
crazy. I feel like the U is so liberal and like diverse. But maybe just not that specific.
Yeah. I didn't see any other Filipino, which stereotypically, guess it just wasn't the year of 2017. But yeah, I had this, like, I'm trying to remember, I think, something at primary children's. I had to hold this, I think she was 3 months old, little baby arm. I had to hold it still while they were, like, taking her blood. Almost passed out.
Oh.
I'm like, if I can't handle watching a baby get their blood drawn,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is it for me.
Did you know you were sensitive to stuff like that before? Or was it the fact
Which
that it
is
was
so
a baby?
dumb. I think it was just the fact that, like, I have automatically just such rigid thinking that I picked nursing when I was in like the 7th grade and just never considered changing my mind.
Yeah.
And so then I had like a deep like existential crisis because I had to pay my way through all of my college. So I was like, I wasted a shit ton of money. Like what am I going to do now? Like, I don't want to be that person who changes their mind. Like, that's so lame, which it's not.
Everyone does it.
It's not. But I was like, I'm different. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change my major.
Yeah.
So yeah, I quit the NEEP program, was heavily embarrassed. And then even more embarrassing, didn't know what to do. So declared that my major was business, as one does when they don't know what to do.
Especially if you're from Utah.
So I was a business major for 1 semester.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that was just to get you through classes, right? Like, because you had to have a major.
Yeah, just to like figure it out. And then, I kind of had everything in this is very convoluted, but it really does tie into my dad.
Yeah.
So jumping into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad, he died when I was 4 months old. And so I didn't know him. Yeah. But my mom has lots of photos in our house. And so we always called him Daddy Adam, which, I'm sorry, being an adult, Daddy is just ruined for me.
Yeah.
So my dad.
Yeah.
But we'd always call him Daddy Adam, knew what he looked like. Like, I always knew he died. Like, my mom made that very clear of, like, your dad, passed away. We'd go to his grave, and we'd have, like, a Wendy's picnic.
Yeah.
And so it was very fun. Like, I remember in preschool, or probably kindergarten, I did like show and tell, and I brought a little picture of me and my dad, and I was like, "This is my dad. He is dead." Just a little baby. This is us. Yeah. So I think his death, my mom made that like, I was just very knowledgeable of that and very aware.
Yeah.
So she had told me that he had died of cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I just growing up was like, yeah, my dad died of cancer. And as I grew older, some of like the puzzle pieces just were not fitting together.
Right.
So my dad was a Marine sniper.
Wow.
And I think through my mom's grief and trauma, she just does not share. Me and my mom are complete opposite. And I think that's why we butt heads quite a bit is because my mom is so incredibly private. Yeah. And I have no secrets. I don't care. Yeah. My mom, she'll say, like, don't let anyone know your weakness because they'll use it against you. And I'm like, I don't have any weakness. Can't hurt me. Sorry. To where, like she talks so fondly of him, but doesn't really share much deeper, So trying to put all these pieces together. I remember first grade was very impactful because, it was, I think, around the 4th of July or Veterans Day or something. Yeah. And I remember I had asked my mom, like, how did Dad get cancer? Like, am I going to get that too? Yeah. And my brother, like, we were sitting kind of like this. Like, I was on one couch and my brother was on the opposite couch. And I'm talking to my mom. And I was like, how did he get cancer? And my mom was like, well, he was a Marine sniper. Like, that's a really big job in little kid terms trying to explain to me. And I was like, I don't know why. I just took something and I rolled with it. And I was like, oh, the gunpowder. He snorted the gunpowder and it gave him cancer and he died. And I look over at my brother and he is 7 years older than me. Yeah. And he goes, and I just was like, like I had an inkling, that I was like,
why
something.
are you disagreeing so much with me?
Yes. I'm like, something is not being told to me. And so I feel like I was able to put the pieces together because my brother dropped like very subtle hints throughout our childhood of if I would ask questions to my mom, he would just give me this look. And I knew like telepathically, like mom is not telling the truth. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you what's going on. Yeah.
And I'm assuming she told your brother, like, don't say anything else. Or was your brother just like, he was like taking you like on a scavenger hunt?
I am going to air my brother's tea. I think he'd be fine with it. Yeah. But it is a part of the story. And
Right.
Yeah. Me and my brother are very close. So that's actually something I could ask him. It's never crossed my mind before. But I think in the past when I've kind of asked him, like, why was it like such a secret? He just kind of says, mom is Asian, very quiet. Yeah. Like, mom, she's very sheltered. She doesn't share things. And you were just too young. And I was like, okay. But so flash forward to 13 years old. I don't know what grade that is. Like 8th grade?
7th, 8th, yeah.
Yeah. Like that. So my mom's Filipino, half Filipino, half white. And we were heading to the Philippines because I'm like shaken. It's the caffeine.
Are you cold too?
No, but I also like love it. I just get jittery.
Okay. If you need anything, tell me.
I just need to acknowledge it so no one can bully me online.
Yeah.
No one can bully me if I speak it
haven't
out.
noticed. I would have been like, hey, are you tweaking? But, like, I would have said something. Don't worry.
Yeah, so I was young. I want to say my uncle in the Philippines suddenly passed away. And so it was like a emergency flying to the Philippines for his funeral.
Okay.
And my passport was expired. And so my mom had to expedite it.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I'm assuming, since I was a minor, they needed identification or proof that like my father was like deceased.
Yeah.
And so we were in the car, and I remember my mom had like walked into the house, and in the console was the death certificate. And so me being nosy, I was like, okay, I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
And it did say, can I be like explicit?
Yes. There's no limit. You're good.
Okay, so it did say like, I think something along the lines of like deceased on scene, gunshot wound to the head,
Yeah.
and like self-inflicted.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you know, all of the 13 years of subtle hints just kind of clicked. And so for me, it wasn't this like tragic, like, oh my goodness, my dad killed himself. I kind of knew, like in my gut, I knew it. But to have confirmation, there was a lot of complex feelings of like, why are we so quiet about it? And I think that was such a, I always have struggle saying this word, pivotal moment where I had asked my mom, I remember she came back into the car and I was holding the little death certificate and I was like, what is this? And she was like, don't tell anyone.
Wow.
And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you don't get to tell anybody. And now that I'm older, I really feel like it's my mom's stigma, but also like the intense love she has for my dad that I think she just doesn't want him to be perceived as, in her mind, like weak.
Right.
Or like abandoning his family.
Right.
Because my mom really suffered. I mean, to have a 4-month-old and like a 8-year-old child, you know, I think it's so much trauma for her that she doesn't even want to touch on it.
For sure.
So I've questioned her multiple times of like, why did you come up with the cancer thing? You know, because that seems fucked up to me. Like, just be like, dad was unwell.
Yeah.
Right. But she had said that he had like lumps on his back, that they were like going to the doctor and like getting them biopsied. And when I talked to my brother, he would say like, yeah, our dad would like scream in the night. And sometimes he'd like smack himself like on the wall and he would like think that he was in war.
Yeah, he was having PTSD.
Yeah. So like, you know, more pieces start lining up. I imagine that like that's incredibly scary to witness. My mom, I think, has twisted it, which I don't think is entirely wrong, but in her mind, she very much perceives his passing and the way that it happened, I think either as like someone else did it, like someone else killed him, or he knew he was sick. And so he just wanted to like protect his family or shelter them in some way.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad's death is very weird to me because my brother was, I think, 7 at the time. And they were on a trip in Wyoming and it had happened. They were on their way to the hotel. Everything seemed fine. I'm getting this information from my brother because if I talk about it with my mom, she gets very emotional and she very much says like, I just don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah.
So I get the information from my brother. So we got to recognize he's 7.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, he just remembers that they got to this hotel and my mom took me upstairs and Austin went with him. That's my brother. And then my dad was just taking too long in the car. And so my mom said, hey, go downstairs and go check on your dad. And then my brother goes downstairs and in the car, my dad had already taken his own life. So my older brother, but as a child, is the one who like found him and witnessed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of like, my dad was married prior to my mom and my mom was married prior to my dad. So my brother Austin's my half sibling, but we're very close. I don't view him as a half sibling at all. My dad has other children that I I don't really have relationships with. There's one sister in particular who I think has tried to stay really connected to me, but even then she's significantly older.
Yeah.
So I don't really consider them as siblings.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of like my dad's side of the family, like his ex-wife, his like nieces and nephews. There's just a lot of like, I don't even know how to explain it. I find it so silly. Conspiracy?
Interesting.
Yes. So they refuse to believe he took his own life. So I think on my mom's perspective, she has like, she knows what has happened.
Yeah.
And in like a comforting way has kind of twisted it to be like, maybe something in the military that is like greater than I know happened, because this just doesn't make sense. He took his own life very suddenly. There was like nothing going wrong in their marriage. He just had a 4-month-old baby. They were on vacation. Like it just didn't line up. As to where my dad's side of the family was like, oh, Austin killed him.
What the fuck?
I know. And okay, tell me a Marine sniper, like someone so highly trained, like could get shot and killed by a 7-year-old with like such precise precision. It doesn't make sense. No.
I think, obviously, I don't know anything, but you hear the parts of your story, and as someone who's in the field that I'm going into, I'm like, he had PTSD. A lot of Marine veterans take their lives because of the intense flashbacks and just the intense chronic pain and everything that they experience. It's so common.
Yeah. Well, and I think about like, if I was 4 months old, like you are still heavily going through postpartum as a woman.
Yeah.
And I don't know educationally like what that does to men, but it's like he had a newborn baby, right? He's going through, he was already divorced, but from my understanding, just the separation from his ex-wife was so terrible that there was like lingering court stuff that he had to work through. And so like you have that high stress. They were in the process of adopting my brother. So my brother has a different dad than me.
Yeah.
But he refers to my dad as his dad.
Yeah.
But my dad was going to like formally adopt him at that time. So the things just don't really add up for a person in the right mind, like pre-planned suicide. It definitely seems like very spontaneous. But yeah, all of that, there's still so much that I don't know, and I don't know if I ever will.
Yeah.
And I go through like an emotional roller coaster. Sometimes I'm chilling and it's just like, my dad's dead. That sucks.
Yeah.
You know, but that's all that I've known.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's very deep grief where I'm like, I wish that I knew like what led to that. And in a selfish way too, I'm kind of like, how could you leave me?
Right.
You know?
Not selfish. Normal.
True.
Very valid.
True, but like, yeah. So I'm kind of jumping all over the place. But my dad is buried in Bountiful, where we are from.
Yeah.
And so 13, find the death certificate. You know he has died by suicide. I keep that very hush-hush. And then go into high school. I think a couple of friends, did I ever tell you?
You did, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like I think I started growing more comfortable navigating and deconstructing kind of like the stigma that I was kind of raised in to where like I don't feel shame or guilt or embarrassment when I share that my dad took his own life. Like I feel intense sadness for that.
Yeah.
But I'm not embarrassed. Like I am so curious as to like what led to that decision. Yeah. So I told you and a couple of other people, but junior year was a very rough year for me. I think that was, there was bullying at school with, I'm looking right into the camera, with some boys. Yeah. And I hope they feel terrible. I really do. This is like, I'm not a therapist in this moment. I hope they feel terrible.
Yeah.
Because it heavily impacted my confidence. It impacted the way that I perceived myself, like the way that I was comfortable around boys specifically, because I felt like I was built up to be like, oh, Jasmine, you're so pretty. We want to spend time with you. It's like, and so it just like, it shook my world. So like school, you know, I was feeling just like I didn't really fit in my group of friends. My one friend was not a good friend. Like just the duality of that was like, I'm so appreciative of that friend, but I can also recognize like there was a lot of times where I just needed like comfort and calm. And all I was met with was just like anger.
She's not someone you go to for comfort.
No. And so like my life is falling apart. Yeah. And this is my first experience personally with depression and suicide.
Okay.
So junior year, I was very suicidal. And I had like a group of junior friends, like junior boys, and they were so sweet. And I think that's what like kept me through is the fact that I did have like other people in my corner.
Yeah.
But I remember like I'd go to school, I was showing up late, so I'd get used a lot. Yeah. I just didn't really care. I have to like unbury all of this stuff because it's not a good time like to think back to. Like I'm so thankful that I didn't act upon anything because I love my life now.
Yeah.
And it will like get me very sad.
Yeah.
Thinking about like if I had done something. But I was very serious. Like I had plans. And I think it was hard because I wasn't close with my mom at the time. There was a lot of anger. She had just gotten remarried. Right. And so that was also like very trying for me because it was me and my mom for 17 years. Yeah. And then, you know, my stepdad comes into the picture and it just feels like my whole world imploded. But I would tell my mom, and I love my mom, bless her heart. Yeah. But the way that she went about it, I think just with her culture, her fear, her trauma, whatever it is, she just did not go about it in a great way. Yeah. And so I would tell her, like, I want to kill myself. And she'd be like, you're on drugs. You need to go take a drug test right now because you're on drugs. And I was like, I fucking wish I was on drugs. I'm like, I'm just so fucking sad.
Yeah. Then maybe I wouldn't want to kill myself if I was like blasted.
I'm like, let me smoke some pot if that's going to make me feel better. Yeah. But I was so afraid. So like, no, I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I was not a bad kid. I was a very good kid. And yeah, there was a lot of times where she'd be like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go take you to the psych ward? Let's just go.
It was like threats.
Yes. And I'd be like, no, oh my gosh, if people found out, like at school. And so I would heavily rely on this friend and say like, could I stay with you? You know? And she'd be like, no. You know?
Crazy.
Yeah. And I do want to say this because this actually was really important for me. I think it was like in high school, one of my deepest lows was when I was in that headspace. My mom at the time was very anti-medication. Again, like she's come around because I'm a therapist now. But like at the time, very anti-medication, anti-talking about emotions, anti-sharing with other people, like hardship that's going on in your life. So I would like use comedy as like a way to like cry for help.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I would blatantly just be like, haha, I want to kill myself.
Right.
And then I would just wait.
Yeah.
You know, and it got to the point no one was laughing anymore. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how many times do I have to just like look you in the eye directly and tell you? Yeah. And the friend at the time, I can laugh about it now, but I remember like being 17 years old. Oh my gosh. She had said, Jasmine, we know you're just the girl who wants to kill herself. And I think like as an adult looking back on that, I can imagine the stress that I probably like caused her. You know, when we're children and we are going through mental health struggles and we don't know what to do and we don't want to tell our parents, like I do have like empathy for her. But I also recognize that for me, I was like, you are the one person in the world who I consider my friend. And like, I can't come to you. Yeah. So I started going to my dad's grave every day after school. And it was a lovely area for me. Like, it's a beautiful scenery. Mm-hmm. And I would just drive up the mountain, you know, go and I'd sit with him every day. And I feel like that at that time in my life, I finally, like, it's weird to describe it. I don't know my dad, obviously, right? But I felt like I did.
Right.
Like I built this relationship, and I recognize logically that it is just purely like fantasy. I want my dad to be the type of dad who would listen to me, and I could sit with and I could cry with him too, and I would lay down by his grave, and I want him to be there for me. I don't know. I hope so, that he was a good guy, but like, I don't know. But at that time, I created this relationship where every day after school, I would go and I'd sit and I just talk to him. And I'd say like, oh, mom is being crazy. Like, you married this girl? Like, she's calling my phone again. She's not leaving me alone. And I just built this very powerful connection with him. And there's not like a certain memory or a certain instance, but I remember kind of being like, I don't get to kill myself because I can feel like what my dad's death caused to my family. And I was like, I don't get to do that. And that's the duality again of like a big part of me was so fucking pissed that I'm like, if my dad didn't kill himself, I would have done it. Right? Like I thought about like, I would have, but because he wasn't there, I was like, I don't get to. Like he took that away from me, but he saved me too. I'm like, if my dad wasn't, if he was here, like, I don't know. And so I feel very connected with my dad. And that is what kind of led to, you know, flash forward, still in like going to college, thinking I'm going to be a nurse, having my existential crisis. And it was my dad like on the forefront. Like, I very much think my dad saved my life because at that time, like, I didn't feel like I had anything. But I had him. I had him on his mountain with a beautiful scenery that I could go to. And it was like my escape. And I thought about it. I was like, I've never broken an arm. I've never really been like sick, but like mentally ill, sure, right? And so I feel very passionate of, like, I have personal experience with that. And like, now that I do view myself as, I don't want to say healed because I feel like, you know, life ebbs and flows. But now that I'm no longer suicidal, really the fog is insane. Like, once that blindfold is removed, I'm like, life is so amazing. And I know what it's like for me to be at an all-time low. And if I can have just 0.1% of like trying to show someone that they really just need to hold through and that life is shit, but she is also so amazing. And it's the amazing parts that get us through the shitty time that like I just feel so powerful for me. And so I changed everything and I went into grad school and here we are now. I feel like that was a roller coaster.
Isn't that so, like, no, it was beautiful. And I think that's like, because I never, throw back to like when we were in high school and stuff and even like right after graduation, like I never thought you were going to go to school to be a therapist. And it makes sense because that wasn't the original plan. But I think you're exactly who would do it. You know what I mean? Like, we were talking about this. First of all, thank you for sharing all of that. That's such a difficult thing to express, and I'm grateful for your vulnerability. And just our friendship has always been very real, and we share so many commonalities in our lives. And so thank you. And I think back to what you said. You're like, you're the girl who wants to kill herself. They, not to like joke about something serious, but like they'd be like, this bitch is a therapist now. Oh, like, do you ever like that idea? Because I was in Hope Squad all through high school, and I was so mental health advocate heavy from like a very young age because of my family situation. That people are like, of course you want to be a fucking therapist, but I'm like, in their head, I'm like the biggest bitch. So like, why would you be a therapist? Like, even a common friend we had pointed out one of my flaws and how like I won't forgive her for a certain thing, and she goes, and she wants to be a therapist. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but you'll tell me after.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I'll cut it out. Like, she won't forgive me. But she wants
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, therapists are people. Like,
oh, that is like low key. It's so funny. I have a fear. I have issues with, it's so tricky. I can't even conceptualize it because it's my own emotion and I don't fucking know what's going on. But there's like, high school was a traumatic time for me. Okay. Not trauma, like stunting my life trauma, but like, no, there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
I have a fear that people are talking shit and being like, Jasmine, oh, of course, she was so fucking mean in high school. Like, that is such a fear of mine, that I was mean to people in high school, which I genuinely don't think I was. Like, I seek reassurance a lot. Yeah. So then with people from high school, acquaintances, like not even friends, they will follow me on Instagram and I'll be like, I am so sorry I was such a bitch in high school. And they'll be like, I didn't think you were mean ever. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I think I perceived myself as mean because the people I surrounded myself were very mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. It ebbs and flows. On the days where I'm very confident, I don't care.
Yeah.
On the days where I'm insecure, I'm like, they are probably making fun of me. Like, oh, of course Jasmine's a therapist. And then I have to remind myself, I'm like, yeah, and of course I'd never find you in fucking therapy. So it is what it is.
We're done. Because that's exactly what it fucking is. When we last hung out, you said something that I think has changed my entire mindset. Because I was like, well, yeah, I'm just a bitch. No, Marcia, you're bold. And I was like, what a nice way to put that. Because I always call myself bitchy. Like, and that's me getting ahead of what other people might call me. And so when you were like, because I'm self-aware.
Yes.
I remember you were also like, you're so self-aware. I'm like, yeah, I've been in therapy for 5 years.
But there is, I think, a little bit of like, for me, self-preservation. I'm like, if I call myself a bitch and you call me a bitch, that can't hurt my feelings because I already identify as one.
Exactly.
But that's not always the healthiest.
No. So when you were like, you're bold, and I was like, you're correct. Because my goal isn't always to be a bitch. My goal is always to be completely genuine and completely honest. And if you don't like it, so fucking sorry. I'm not going to, like, a couple years ago, when my brain was fully developed, I think a big switch kind of changed for me. Like, I genuinely feel like I woke up on my 24th birthday and was like, I understand the meaning of life now. Like, I really do think, like, after a certain amount of time, things changed for me, like, significantly. But you said that, and I was like, I need to stop calling myself bitchy. Because I'm not bitchy. You don't like what I have to say. And do I say it the right way? No. A lot of the time, like, I have a lot, especially when it comes to my family, and I feel really bad for my brother and my sister-in-law sometimes because they get to see it now. My family triggers me in a way that, like, I cannot be calm about it. No. I get so frustrated, I get so angry, I get so emotional, like automatic tears, automatic screaming, automatic flashbacks, like it's just horrible. But in real life, like when I'm out in the world talking to other people, I'm able to stay really composed and really calm. You just don't like what I have to say. And I think in high school, even then, you and I, especially you, were just so genuine to who we were, they didn't like it, so they called it bitchy. And obviously you were going through so much, like, and what's crazy is, like, especially in high school, we learn a lot about how the warning signs for suicide. And I taught that as a Hope Squad leader. I went to schools and to classes and taught people the warning signs about suicide. And I said, saying I'm going to kill myself isn't a joke. If they say it, they mean it. And so for you to come here and say, I said it because I meant it and no one listened, like, I was like, so what was our education doing? Like, what was the point? Like, you are the exact example of, like, why we taught what we taught and why we tried to change that narrative. Because when we were in high school, that was the thing to say. I'm going to kill myself. Yes. It's like how when we were in junior high, the F slur was, like, so used. Jump forward 2-3 years, I'm going to kill myself was just, like, something you said.
Yes, yeah.
So it's, like, you said that, and it was probably because everyone was saying it, but you needed the help. And I think back to, like, those kids, like, they said those things too, and I think they were actually going through it a lot. Like, for some of them, like, sometimes, like, they were having sex really young, they were doing drugs, like, those are really difficult things to go through at 15, 16, no matter what the world wants to tell us about, like, without religion, like, full, like, having sex young is damaging.
We've talked about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're, I think you're a fucking genius. We'll get into that. But like, people who are saying it, I think partially really did mean it.
Oh yeah.
And like, I rarely said it because Hope Squad shit, but like, also like, my siblings were actually trying to kill themselves regularly. Mm-hmm. Like, my brother was in and out of psych units. Mm-hmm. My sister was in and out of psych units. And I understand that fear because there were things said about them.
Yeah.
There were the way that they were perceived. Like when high school happened, you know, you get all those junior highs mixed together. And people who went to junior high with my sister, they automatically disliked me. Mm-hmm. Because they're like, well, we know who your sister is. And I was like, first of all, completely different people. Mm-hmm. Second of all, well, in high school, I wasn't this evolved. But like, if only they knew.
Yeah.
If only they knew. Like, certain people became my friends anyways because they could see how different we are and just like how that's a stupid thing to like judge a whole family off of one person. But like, if they knew what went on in our homes or what went on in your home, our homes, like, they wouldn't actually fucking say anything. Mm-hmm. They'd be like, yeah, I would also institutionalize myself. Like, it's fucking hard. Uh-huh. And we went to school and lived in such a god-awful place, in my opinion, when it comes to being colored, being religious, being from single moms, being immigrant. Like, we fit, and that's why I feel so connected to you, is like, in so many ways, we check the same boxes. I'm Latina, you're Filipino, so like our boxes are different. Yeah. But like in the same category of like, we had to, I felt like I had to fight my way through high school sometimes just because I was colored.
I will say my experience is different.
That's good.
But it's weird because I think my experience in being a minority, I feel like the Filipino side of me was killed.
And that's what I mean. Like, I feel like I'm white.
Yes.
Like, I genuinely, like, no, I'm a white woman.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're fucking not.
Yeah. And I had this, like, in high school, I wanted to step into my identity of being a brown girl. And I wanted to call myself that. And it very much was like, no, you're white. No, you're not Asian. You're not that type of Asian. You're Filipina, right? So it's like, I didn't feel like I didn't fit in with the white people.
Yeah.
I didn't fit in with the Filipino people.
Yeah.
Because the only other person that I know was Danielle, shout out girl. But she's full Filipino, a beautiful Filipino goddess. I don't look anything like her.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I didn't feel like I fit in. I would say I feel like my experience, because Bountiful, she do be triggering. I do not like Bountiful. And my mom still lives there. Yeah. Like my brother lives there.
Right?
Yeah. Same place. No, you won't catch me living there again. But I do feel like it was the income, like being on a lower income is what was such a discrepancy in Bountiful versus my color.
Okay.
Because I think if I were black, pretty much like, yeah, but I feel like because we had two
black kids and because they were cool.
Yeah. But it's like all of the attention was on them.
Right.
I think racially, like there was probably a lot of hidden racism because they were adopted by white parents. Yeah. And so for them, I imagine their high school experience heavily revolved around what color their skin was. Yeah. I don't feel like mine so much did, but I do feel like where I lived did. Yeah. Like you lived below the temple, so therefore you're poor.
We lived on the bottom of the hill. And it's like, you're saying this so beautifully and eloquently. Thank you, because I get fucking triggered. Because I loved high school. I had a lot of friends. I had good friends. I loved high school. I had good extra. Yeah. Fuck me. Like I had a really great high school experience. I have nothing to complain about, except for the fact that like people didn't like that I was poor. And to me, I tie that to my color.
Yeah.
Because that kind of coincides for me.
Yeah. Well, and let's look at statistics.
Yeah. And I wasn't Mormon enough for them. And they fucking hated that. And all of those bitches were doing way worse than I ever was. I'm still a good girl to this day. With the couple drinks I've had and the few edibles I've taken and the tattoos and piercings, I'm 10 times better than all of them.
You are one of the most spiritual people that I know. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on your podcast. Like, anytime, look right in the camera, I struggle with religion so bad. So bad. And I think because I struggled a lot with rigidity as a kid, like it was very black or white for me. as I've developed into an adult, I've leaned away from that. So I'm very big on duality and that things can be both, you know, and there's good and bad always, yin yang. They're always going to be side and side. But with our religion, it is very black and white. And culturally in Utah, I think it is very forced upon people to either be all in or all out. And so anytime I think about like fully leaving, I'm like, oh, but then there's Mercy. And she's just chilling. And like, why can't I just appreciate where I am? Because I'm chilling here.
Yeah.
So no, I really value the way that you hold your faith so dearly.
Thank you. It took a lot of time and a lot of leaving Bountiful. Like a lot of leaving that mindset of like, I have to be this and I have to be that. Because I'm so happy. I come home from church. My brother and my sister-in-law are active members. I come home from church and I sit there and I look at Faith and I'm like, I loved church today. I had such a great time. I felt the Spirit, and which can be hard in a home where you're the only one who's spiritual, or actively religious, I guess, because they are spiritual.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I loved it. And I'm like expressing this and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to my room now and listen to Doja Cat and read my smut. Like, and that's like, and I'm happy doing both. Both fulfill me the exact same way.
I love that.
I was fucking tired of like leaving the church every 6 months. Leaving the church.
Yeah.
My version of leaving the church is like, today I'm not going to read my scripture. Today I'm not going to wear my garments. You know, like in whatever form I was choosing to rebel, it's fucking crazy. On like the way I perceive bad is crazy because I'm like, I was just raised by immigrant mother. Like you just can't. I don't know. But like religion and like, anyway, going back to like what we're saying, like I think people from high school see me where I'm at now spiritually and like just like what I'm doing with my life and they're like, a fucking course Mercy's doing that. A fucking course Jasmine feels like that. And I think it's because like they don't like that we could be ourselves and they could never be that. Because of where we grew up, you can't be yourselves. You know how many people where you grew up like have just fully left the church?
Almost
and they were
everyone that I know.
And they were the ones who were like mean to me about not being Mormon enough. And I was like, well, fuck you.
Even though I understand projection, it like coming to terms with it doesn't ever feel comforting. Like I can logically analyze a person's behavior and recognize like, oh, it probably stems from this and the upbringing and like this is the people they surrounded themselves with. But it still pisses me off. Yeah. Like you had the audacity to judge me when you were the insecure one?
Yeah. And what's funny is you and I are both going to spend the rest of our lives being like, let them. To our clients, which fuck let them. I do not believe the let them theory can die. You can stand by it, but
no, I don't stand by the let them. Mel Robbins, girl,
you need to edit your book.
She is privileged. Yeah. I will go on my soapbox with Mel Robbins. What she is teaching in the let them theory is CBT. That is one of my main forms of modality. I think it's just logically the easiest thing to comprehend within therapy. Yeah. A lot of therapists shit on CBT. I think it's beneficial in every single session.
That's cognitive behavioral therapy?
Yes. Yeah. That's literally just, you know, what is logically going on, factually going on, and then how does our brain like interpret that to
our reactions and stuff.
The let them theory is not new.
No.
You know, it is just worded in like a very popularized way that people can just like eat it up, but it's the same shit that's been said.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to hate her hustle. Like, go ahead. But the people who devour stuff like that, like all of the self-help books, they are all the same.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty in it, is like we do have so many ways that people can devour a self-help book or go to therapy and something hits them differently and it finally clicks.
Right.
But my bias is like it's the same shit and we're just doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
So when people get too cocky like Mel Robbins and she's like, I created this, I founded this. Girl, you have no mental health background at all.
Yeah.
You're just an Insta influencer.
Yeah. And also I'm like, your relationship with your daughter and why the let them theory was created, you were exactly what a lot of the women, the boomer moms, like the daughters are running away from. Sorry.
And sometimes
I got personal.
This is my anger, but I'm like, fuck them. I'm not going to let them. Like, sometimes I'm not going to let them.
And I think that's genuinely, like, I don't like the let them theory because when I when it was recommended to me, it was by someone who was actively bullying me as a grown woman. As a 24-year-old and other 24-year-olds, I was being bullied at church. Crazy. And she was like, you should listen to this podcast. And I was friends with her. I didn't know she was talking shit behind my back.
Oh.
And I was like, and I remember sending her a voice memo. I was like, I listened to the podcast. I have questions. I have comments. And we never really talked about it because then I found out she was talking shit. And I was like, yeah, no wonder I didn't fucking like to let them. She wanted me to let her be a bitch to me. And I'm not going to allow that.
Yeah.
I think the let them theory is a lot of allowing people to hurt you and being like, well, that doesn't have power over me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, actually, the things people say and do have power over us because we're human. And it's how we heal through it, how we manage it, how we react to it. But none of it's just allowing them to do it. I don't like that. That's not how that fucking works. That's not real life. That's not therapeutically healthy. Like, that's not mentally... I'm not just going to let someone shit on me. I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to advocate for myself. So I don't like the let them theory. I think that's fucking stupid. But I understand what you're saying. In the world of psychology, like, there's a healthy and positive way to do that.
Yes.
And I love that it's a white woman with big glasses that are telling me to let them. I'm like, yeah, let me let you colonize me some more. I just fucking hate it. I can't.
Mel Robbins comes on to the Whatever Works pod. Hey,
what the fuck did I do to you? I'm like, sorry.
She bullies me.
Yeah. God. You should not be worried about being bullied.
No.
Stop.
Mercy. If
fucking let them.
when my Instagram was public, because as a counselor, it is private.
Right.
But when it was public, I remember, this is like so off topic, I'm going to tell you anyway. I'm very big on spirituality, as you know. Religion, that's another thing, okay? But the two things, they are associated, but they are intertwined.
Yeah.
But they're very different.
Yeah.
Right? I define spirituality as anything that connects a person to their life. So for me, that is God and Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But for other people, that can be like crystals, stars.
Right.
I feel
the
most
nature, Earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mother Earth. This is so funny. I feel like maybe I told you this. I'm not even embarrassed at this point. I view Mother Earth as Mama God.
Oh, period.
I view that as
Mama God. So good.
Mama God. Like, that is, I full-heartedly believe that God has a wife and she's so divine.
Yeah.
And she is the one who created everything.
Period. Yeah.
And so when I'm in nature, I feel the most whole and the most like in tune, because that's when I'm with my God, my Mama God.
My Mama God.
But so spiritual videos that I connect with on Instagram, I will like them, and I rarely comment because I'm afraid of getting bullied. But there was one that I commented on. Don't even remember what I said. But it was something along the lines of like, I love this, like really needed to hear that, and it was just a video about let's be kind to everybody. Some like Russian man came onto my Instagram, went onto a photo of me in a swimsuit and said, keep showing off your mid-boyfriend and being a titty flanger.
What the fuck? Be kind to everyone. He's like, fuck no.
I also was like, what titties, honey? I wish I could fling them around.
I'm flat-chested.
Okay, what titties? Second, a mid-boyfriend. That's my husband.
First of all, that's my and your husband is
and
an
I was like,
angel.
mid? I was like, get over here.
I fucking love your husband.
I love my husband. He is so, honestly, shout out to my husband. He's another reason why I do believe in God. Yeah. And I'm like, full-heartedly, I'm like, nah, this can't. All the shit that I went through in my life, Bryson can handle anything in the most, like, he is such a tender man.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know how to word it without him feeling like sissy, but it's like, he is everything that I need. I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
That was just chance.
Yeah. You said that was God.
Yeah. That was my fucking reward is what that was. Like,
I'm waiting for him.
He's coming. He's coming.
No, I remember when you got married, and I got to be at your wedding because it was after I come home from my mission. I'm so grateful I got to be there.
Girl, you did my makeup because my makeup artist flaked.
You were beautiful either way.
thank
It was
you.
so good. It was, and he was giving your the speeches, and he told, was it you or him that told the chicken nugget story?
It was him because I didn't say anything. He caught me off guard.
Yeah,
I didn't know
he told the chicken nugget story about and I'm not gonna say it right, but basically he's like, that's how I knew I loved Jasmine. And I'm sitting there with my friend, and I'm like, this is what Jasmine deserves. I'm like crying my eyes out because he is so tender, and he's
tender.
From what I know, I've never met him. I don't need to know him personally to know everything about him. He's so gentle and simultaneously masculine, and you don't find that anymore.
Yeah.
You don't find that without the he's sissy or he's this. I'm like, no, he's in fucking tune with his emotions and nature. And I love that. And last time we were together, we were talking about it, and I was like, I love your husband because he seems connected. And you are someone who needs that, because if you had married a toxic masculine man, you'd be divorced.
Yeah, yes.
You probably wouldn't have gotten married in the first place.
Yeah.
And I feel I think you said this, with your past experience with men, it was so healing to meet Bryson. And he was so real with you in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And that cracked me up because I was like, man, he had the balls to say it, because I think he knew he was going to be your husband. And I wouldn't call that sissy. How he was like, if you want to be mine, you got to be only mine.
Yeah.
Was so real of him. And I've loved him every moment since. He's just so great. He's such a good man.
He's so beautiful. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'm gonna go home and brag. I'll be like, Mercy said all these lovely
just
things
listen
about
to this
you.
part of the part of the podcast. Here, 1 second.
Yeah, no, he is great. I think what is so wild to me is sometimes I still be toxic, okay, but just aware.
You're a human being.
Yeah, but I'll rage bait him a little, and I'll be like, oh, you're so feminine, and he'll be like, why? Why is planting feminine? Why can't it be? Why can't men do that? And he'll push back on me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you don't do these. I'm trying to think of something that I had said to him. I think I had said something of does it bother you that I call you feminine? And he said, no, because I'm so content with my masculinity. I was like, oh, okay, that's my man. Damn, he can't even, he is just so content and secure in himself.
Yeah.
Which he is that anchor for me.
Yeah.
And he knows when to be at my side, very loving. And then he also knows when to be Jasmine, come on, girl. You need to cut this out. You've been thinking about the same thing for a week, and it's eating up your life, and I don't want to see you like that.
Yeah.
Just what I need.
What a mensch. I love him. He's so good. And I think more men need to be like that. I think once you're just confident and I think my brother, he has a little bit of that. He's more on the masculine side. I wouldn't call him feminine, but he doesn't really fucking care. And he's just he's too confident, actually, in my personal opinion. But he just he'll go get pedicures with Faith, and he's like, and I got a pedicure. He loves that.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it a lot.
Yeah,
but
but
he'll
still.
go and do that, and he's he just doesn't care. And I think raising a daughter, that's gonna be really good, because Ava's never gonna think that men can't do certain things because they're a man. The world's gonna teach her that, and her life's gonna be hard because she has to go to school, and if I could keep her in a bubble for the rest of my life, I would. But I think more men should just do what they want, but they feel like they need to be toxic and masculine, and then they are mean to each other if they're not, even though what they really want is to be themselves.
I was going to say, I'm not a man hater, but I do think for the most part, I feel a lot of grief for men. Because I do, if I think about my dad, and I think about, I imagine all of the hardship he was going through. And I perceive him as a very masculine man. He was 6'4". Okay, so a very
That's why you're
giant,
a long-legged gal.
Yeah, I'm he's a giant Marine sniper, big man, where I couldn't imagine how he had to do all of these things on his own. So when I think very stereotypically, but when I think about men, and then I look at my man, of course I'm very biased, but I do reflect on my friends' relationships. And there are aspects of their marriages with their husbands that are very stereotypical man.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't do things unless I have to ask him multiple times, or You know, with the kids, he won't like change their diapers because that's just not a man's job.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these things that I'm like, oh, I grieve for these men because if they just had like an outlet, if they took initiative, you know, I think a lot of things could be divulged and reconstructed. But I thank God where I'm just like, I've never had to think about like what type of father is my husband going to be.
Yeah.
Like regardless of what our kids are or who they become.
Yeah.
Like Bryson is just so, he's soft and gentle but stern. Mm-hmm. You know, so like, yeah, I think that's so lovely that your brother gets little pedicures.
Yeah. He's a fuck face, but in certain ways, but I don't think he's toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
I wouldn't define him as that. Also, that was so beautiful. I'm a fucking man hater. I hate men. After last night, I actually decided I never want to get married or have kids.
Oh.
I think everybody does it wrong. And I just, being single at my age and in this like physical state I'm in Utah.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. And I love my friends and I love their husbands because once my friends get married, their husbands are my friends. Like I'm like, if I want to keep my friend close, I have to be friends with their husband. Yeah. They have to like me. For the most part, I think they do. No one has anything good to say about their husband except for you.
You're lying.
No.
Okay, that makes me feel so good.
I love my husband. And also, this is really hard, and this is really hard, and this... And I'm like, well, that fucking sucks.
I will say...
I'm not going to get married. Like, thank you for reminding me why this isn't fucking worth it, and I'd rather be alone. And also, in my head, the only option is being a single mother because I was raised by a single mother, so I'm like, I could do it. And I could.
You could, and you would do amazing at it, but you need to find a partner. I do feel very lucky, and I have to acknowledge... And I feel bad. Like, I don't mean to, like, tear down other people's marriages, but it is really hard when you have people sharing with you and they say, right, like, negative is more impactful than positive. Mm-hmm. That's just neuroscience.
Yeah.
To where when someone says, oh, yeah, my husband plays video games all the time and, like, I never get time to be with them, but we got married in the temple and we need to be together forever and this was God's will. What the fuck? Like, that doesn't, I feel so, like, leave him. What do you mean?
Yep.
And so then I reflect on my marriage and I'm like, oh, I have it good. Like, not just, like, bare minimum good. I have it amazing.
Please cling. Please cling to that man. Because he's going to be like, just, what is the word? Yoinked. Once, if he would never leave you. You're perfect. If you ever decide to leave him. Like.
Never. And that's something, like, with Bryson, it's so wild when I think about him because every year on his birthday, I do a little like birthday tribute and I get in my head of like, let me really think about my spouse. Mm-hmm. And I sob. Because I'm like, this man, like he is so hardworking. He is so emotionally in tune. Mm-hmm. I think that's a very big thing when it comes to men is because societally, you know, we perceived emotions as weak. Yeah. And women have it tough, okay? And I will argue in many ways women have it incredibly harder than men. Yes. But if I'm going to give a little bit of space to men at the moment, like that's again where my grieving comes for them, right? They have to be the provider. They have to be the protector. They can't be weak, and emotions are weak, and they can't cry, and blah, 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 blah. Where, like, Bryson, he also has never been to therapy, which is so wild to me.
Yeah, especially you being a therapist.
I know. Yeah. Like, he is so stable where like
he's so okay.
Like he can just conceptualize and he is not afraid of expressing how he feels. So if I hurt his feelings, he will blatantly say, you hurt my feelings when you said that. Yeah. And that reconnects us. Yeah. And I feel like there is that layer of masculinity that a lot of people have in a stereotypical marriage where that doesn't allow them to reconnect as partners. And I am an equal to Bryson. Yeah. Which is sometimes fucking sucks. Yeah. Because I'll be like, Bryson, can you just do this? And he's like, I'm a feminist, baby. Go do it. And I'm like,
he's like, no.
But like, I think we bounce off of each other in beautiful ways where we recognize like there are things that Bryson is not able. So I guess I'll take that back. We are equitable, right? Because he will never carry a child.
Yeah.
That's just not.
Yeah.
That will never be something he does.
No two humans can ever be fully equal.
Yes, right? But it's like he admires and acknowledges our differences, and I think uses that within our marriage to make us more powerful, as to where I have witnessed in other marriages that becomes attacking.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we have differences, so therefore that, like, creates barrier.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's, again, such a beautiful way to look at it. It's a way that, like, as someone who's single and who hasn't really ever been in a serious relationship, that's a good way to view it rather than the man-hating side of me. It's just really hard when you only see the negative side. You only ever see the bitching and the moaning. And please bitch and moan to me. We're friends. Of course I want to hear why your husband's a jackass. And also, like, I want to hear how he helps you succeed, but when he's not helping you succeed or succeeding, that's where I'm like, that's where the problem is. Because my friends would absolutely tell me why their husbands are great if their husbands were great. You know what I mean? And my friends, your husbands are great. I love them. This isn't, like, this is... Here and there, I have friends and I'm like, you should be divorced. And then, for the most part, I'm just like, you married a man. An unfortunate, toxic man. And not, like, toxic in the way that he's bad. It's that he views being a man as only masculine and not, like, indulging in any sort of femininity. And that's and I think that's really hard. And I just don't envy any of my friends or their relationships or how they're raising kids. Like, I'm like, sorry that your husband's not, like, even, like, his brain isn't smart enough to even think about getting up with you when you have to be up with your newborn.
Yeah.
Like, you should not have to be awake by yourself. Like, that's not how that should be. And he shouldn't, like... I can't say what I want to say, but if I want to keep my friendships, I have to, like, keep it, like... It should be way more equal than it is. And I get it. Moms are going to be naturally better because it's in us better at, like, doing the things, putting the kids to bed, helping them, soothing them. You can learn what your kids like. Learn how they, like, as a dad. Like, learn how to take care of them. I love my nanny family. They're so great. The dad recently lost his job, or, like, at the beginning of the year, he lost his job. And so he was home for all the time. He didn't have a job. And so they pulled them out of daycare on the days that I wasn't there. And he watched them. And he was, like, before he was a great dad. I have nothing bad to say about him. He, like, knew what their schedule was, knew what was going on. And I was like, that's a basic thing that you should just always know. And I love that he was able to step up and do that. And, like, because when you're both working full time, I understand the stress and I understand this, but Faith has just as much, my sister-in-law Faith has just as much, it's just as required for her as a woman who works 40 hours a week to take full care of Ava. Ricky works 40 hours a week. He should also know how to take care of Ava because he's a man, people will say he doesn't. But Faith works just as much. But she knows Ava's whole routine and her whole schedule and her friends and everything. But Ricky doesn't. He does in real life. I'm just saying, like, as example, like, because he's a man. Like, that's fucking dumb. And that's how all my friends' relationships are. Is like, well, it's easier because I'm home all day. I'm like, that's still his kid.
We are, as in you and I do think we are very passionate about feminism, but also because we have witnessed oppression in many different forms. I think that, like, a very traditional marriage for some people works out. For me, that's disrespectful because there is the lack of consent and power. Right? If it was, I want to stay home with the kids and I want to be the one to change their diapers all the time and I want to be the one to take them everywhere, power to you. That is informed consent. That is a very traditional marriage that has been laid out. But I think in a lot of these marriages, it lacks the consent. It's just kind of expected. Oh, my husband works all the time, so it just makes sense that I watch the kids, right? Or like, oh, he's so tired after his shift, so I just, like, get the kids ready for bed. Was that agreed upon? Was that discussed? And so it is sad. I think just lots of themes of grief in this podcast in many different forms where... Not in, like, a I'm looking down on people ever. Because I truthfully believe, like, no one is better than me.
You're so good.
And I am no better than anybody else. But I do have to remind myself that my experience within my marriage is very unique to where Bryson is not a bare minimum guy.
Yeah.
And so when I see men being praised for doing the bare minimum, it blows my mind. Like, I think they're a shitbag.
Yeah.
But that is not my life to live.
Yeah. It's hard. There's a reason I still have so much school to do and like learning to do before I become a therapist. It's so hard for me to accept other people's the things that they accept.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And they're like, well, I'm okay with it. I'm like, why the fuck are you okay with that? Like, how is that? How, like, I get so angry at other people's the disservice other people are experiencing. And maybe that's part of it because I've experienced a lot of oppression. And it's just like, I don't get how more people aren't mad. And I think there's certain situations where you don't have the choice. And so they're like, well, I'm going to make the best of my situation. And I think that's also a good way to look at it. I'm going to make the best of what I have. And I have a really hard time accepting that for other people because I was like, I would never accept that. And so, yeah, I think if I change my mindset, my therapist told me a long time ago, you need to change your mindset. And I said, bitch, what? She's right. I think of everything very negatively. I'm very pessimistic. But I think, like, a lot of people are more happy than I make them out to be.
Yeah.
Because regardless of, like, the disservice or the injustice they're experiencing, they're making the best of what their situation is. And there is a lot of beauty in that. And, like, choosing to be positive. I just I can't do that.
Duality in everything, Mercy.
Yeah. And I'm so dual in my own life. Look at me. I'm the poster child for duality.
You are.
But when I see other people, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
And
like,
I think it comes from your immense amount of love. Yeah. I truthfully do. Where it's like, I think the reason why I am so judgy of, like, my family or my friends is because I know they deserve more than what they're settling for. Yeah. And it just irks me.
No, it sends me. And I agree. Like, I love my people. I love my people so deeply. Like, it's actually probably a problem. Like, how much I love the people in my life. And it really does. It hurts me to see how okay I think they are with mediocrity. Yeah. And that's hard. You're so wise. That's why you're a therapist. You're
oh my God. I have a client who says that to me all the time, and I literally am like, stop.
I'm a fucking idiot.
Stop it.
It's hard because as a therapist, I can't wait till I'm a therapist because then I'll be like, oh my God, what am I doing? And like the sense of like, I'm so good at like helping other people understand things. And then I get to myself and I'm in my room. I'm like, I just want to be dead. I just want to like, nothing's okay. Everything's wrong. But I'm like to my friend, I'm like, hey, like, think about like what we can do in this situation. How can we approach it? I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm like in the corner of my bedroom.
For therapists. What the hell?
And every time I follow a therapist, I'm like, okay, so we're just real people. Yeah. Like, and I love that, and I think that's why I'm going to be a great therapist because I'm never gonna like be like, and I'm perfect. Well, I am perfect, but like in different ways, I'm perfect. And so, yeah, I love that, and I think that's exactly why you and I should be therapists. There's a lot of people went to high school. I'm like, please never step foot. And like, as a therapist, never set foot in that office. As a client, for the rest of your life, like
yeah.
But yeah, I think you're so wise, and you're just so. I think you're exactly where you need to be, and I love how you got there. I think fighting for what you do makes you want it more. Like, makes you appreciate it more. It makes it mean more. Like, you weren't just like, well, I picked that and I'm going to do it. Like, kind of how you felt with, like, nursing. You're like, because I was an athletic training major, but that's because I did basketball. Like, I did the girls managing for so many years. I was like, I love athletes. Yeah. And I was like, no, I love taking care of them. And naturally, I put myself in a caregiver role. And so, but then after I worked in residential treatment, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to help people in that. And I've been on my therapy path for, like, the last 6 years.
Which I love.
Yeah, like, it definitely felt like, as soon as I picked it, it felt like the exact right thing. I think that's similar for you, and that's really cool. I love you. I think you're perfect.
I love you too.
Okay, so Jasmine, at the end of all of my podcasts, I ask my guests the same question, but what works for you?
I think what works for me is to share absolutely everything. So, for example, if I have something to say to someone and I want to be very vulnerable with them, I think this is where my rigidity comes into play, but in a very beautiful way, at least in the way that I perceive it, is where I share absolutely everything that is on my mind and heart because I don't ever want to have a regret in not saying enough. And so I like empty everything inside of my body and just give it to people. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that works for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? If I think about back to my mom, like she's a very sheltered, she keeps a lot of things very close to her, and I am very open.
Yeah.
So if I have conflict with someone, if someone has hurt my feelings, I am very incredibly direct. And it is painful for me when I feel like I'm giving my entire self to someone.
Yeah.
But it also has weeded out a lot of unnecessary people in my life.
I love that. Not to make it about me, but this is my podcast. I had an experience a couple years ago in that same kind of, I was in that ward and I was like heavily bullied for no reason. There's like this group of guys that all lived in it. It was him and a bunch of his roommates. They were living in my ward, and I was going through a lot, and I shared it with, they were my friends, so I shared it with them, and I shared everything. I've always been, I give my whole self to people, and I remember they used it against me. And I remember being in therapy, talking about it, and I was like, I need to stop telling people everything about myself. I need to stop being so open. I need to stop doing this. And I was having such a hard time because I was like, that's my favorite part about me, is I let people in because I'm going to love them the same amount that I give them. And if I give you everything, I'm going to love you with everything I have. And so I was telling her, I was like, this is so hard. I don't know how to do this. She goes, Mercy, life is trial and error. She goes, nothing that you said or did was wrong. You just learned that that's not a safe person. And you move on.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck, that's so hard. But you being able to see the beauty in that weeding people out, it's hard and it's painful, like you said. But that's not a part of you, yourself or myself that I want to give up. That is what connects me to everything around me, is spilling my guts out to people. I'm not as confrontational as you, so I don't spill it out when I have problems. But when I have problems with them, but like just in general, like giving people every single part of me is inevitable. That is how I live my life, and that's always felt so bad, like a bad thing that I do. But through therapy and even just now in this conversation with you, like it is the best part of me, and that's a part of me I'm not going to stop doing it. So I'm glad that that works for you, because that's one of my favorite parts about you, is that you and I can sit down and give each other our entire selves, our entire stories, our entire experiences, our entire emotions. And because we choose to be safe with each other, we take those pieces and we cherish it. And other people can take it and step on it and stomp on it. And we go, okay, they weren't the one, and move on. I hate that. But it is a very special thing for people like you and I to be able to do. I think it's like definitely like a gift given by the universe or a gift given by God, you know, to have that. Vulnerability
is power to me. And I use my mom as that example of like, don't let people know your weakness. And I really don't, I'm not like being pompous when I say like, when it comes to my feelings, I'm not weak.
Yeah.
Like when I am vulnerable with somebody, and even if they reject me or hurt me, because of course my feelings get hurt.
Yes.
But that's not weakness to me. I have zero regret ever being vulnerable, because that is how I fully connect with other people.
Yeah. I'm still learning that. I'm still on my journey of like, better now than before, but being vulnerable is a gift. It is like a superpower. It is so beautiful. I'm just still dealing with and when people don't choose to love it back, that's really hard. But yeah, I think that's really cool. I love that. I love that about you. And I love my emotions. I fucking hate my emotions sometimes because mental illness. Because a lot of times I don't choose it. It kind of chooses me, you know? But I remember crying one time in front of two men. and being like, and having to be like, I'm not crying because I'm sad or because I'm weak. I'm crying because I'm angry and I care about what's happening. And I hate that I have to justify my emotions because I cry about everything. I'm a crier, but I have to stop I can keep doing it, and I have to stop doing it in the sense of like, I have to stop telling people that me crying doesn't make me a little bitch. Like,
Crying
I kind of
is
hate that.
badass.
If more men cried, I think the world would be a better place. Anyway, thank you for sharing that's what works for you, because I think that's the greatest part about you.
Thank
and
you.
that's like my favorite part about when I have guests on the podcast is like asking them that question, because it really shows who they are. It helps them shine through. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you again so much for coming on my podcast. Do you anything else you want to say?
Live, laugh, love, baby.
Perfect. Until next time, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Bye.